Hi everybody. Sure good to see you. I hope things are well. Won't you pull you up a chair and set a spell while I talk about the legend of Grancer Harrison? William Grancer Harrison, born in 1879, died 1860, is known as the Dancing Ghost. He is the subject of several ghost stories about his spirit being seen dancing at his gravesite near Kinston, Alabama. His tomb was originally covered by a large wood frame shelter, and it has been vandalized and rebuilt many times over the last few years. Harrison was born in the old 96th district of Edgefield County, South Carolina. He came to Coffee County, Alabama in the 1830s and built a large plantation near the junction of Cripple Creek and Pea River, in an area just outside of what now is known as Kinston, Alabama. Harrison's plantation was built on a high bank overlooking the Pea River. He and his wife had 10 children. He was a very successful cotton planter and is said to have owned slaves. He hosted a mini barbecue, dances, and horse races every Thursday. He adored these things so much that he had his slaves build a large dance hall just for the parties. He had a pair of clogs that he wore just for these parties. Harrison was faced with the fact that he would never live forever, so he began to prepare for his final arrangements. Slaves were forced to travel to the brick kiln in Milton, Florida, and return with loads of brick. Work began on a large above-ground tomb he intended to be buried in. In a last act of access, he was buried in the tomb with his dancing clothes, his clogs, laying on his feather bed. The burial site was an earshot of his beloved dance hall so that he could still take part in the festivities. Well, the end for Harrison came in 1860, and his burial orders were carried out exactly. The Thursday night dances continued for a while, but without him it just wasn't the same, and the dance hall soon fell into ruin. Grancer Harrison would have been given the name Grancer by his many children and grandchildren. The nickname was actually very common, given to grandfather in the region of South Carolina from where he was born. Grancer was an affectionate name from western Britain to the Carolinas. The term refers to Grancer. Sir means grandfather. Another tale about Grancer's grave, well, it was told he had buried a sum of gold with him, and still others claim that he buried gold near the old dance hall. Vandals solved the mystery of the gold in his tomb in 1964 when they blew it open with dynamite. There was no gold. They succeeded in only destroying the tomb and scattering his remains. His cemetery, along with his grave, was vandalized in 2010. 50 stones were overturned. It is told today you can still hear an eerie fiddle playing and someone dancing when you pass the cemetery late at night. You can also hear a deep voice calling out square dances, and you can hear bare feet running up the drive of the cemetery even though there is no one there. You can also hear the sound of native drums play a beat and see silver orbs flying all around. The folks' sad tale about Grancer's grave being destroyed, but it has been restored fully. The dance hall, I think all that remains of it is just a pile of rubble because it fell into disrepair. And the shelter that was over his grave is no more either. It was torn down because it was rotten. and but you can still hear him dancing, even though he's been long dead for over 100 years. I want to thank you for sitting and listening to me to this little legend. I hope you enjoyed it. We love you to pieces, and we'll see you next time.